By the year 1967, it seemed like rock bands were popping up in garages all across the country. This is the story of one of those bands that came out of Philadelphia, and they took their name from a very obscure song by the Yardbirds. Now, their principal songwriter has gone on to have a very, very successful solo career and has produced records for a number of well-known acts. His name is Todd Rundgren, and the name of the band is the Nazz. So let's open your eyes and let's drop the needle. Todd Rundgren and bassist Carson Van Osten joined with drummer Tom Mooney and keyboardist Robert Skewy Antonioni to form a band. And they decided to name themselves after an obscure Yardbirds song called The Nazz Are Blue. And so in Philadelphia, the band, the Nazz, was born. But as it turns out, in Phoenix, Arizona, there was another band at this time who was called the Nazz. And their lead singer was Vincent Furrier. And they had recorded a single, which is called Lay Down and Die Goodbye. But then that band decides they're going to move to Los Angeles. And in doing so, they rebrand themselves with the name that the lead singer has taken to calling himself on stage. And they become Alice Cooper. As a result, the Philadelphia Nazz are free to use the name and record records. Now, immediately, the Nazz had a bit of an identity problem in that their management saw them as kind of the next Monkees, where the band themselves thought of themselves more as in the lines of the Cream or the Who. They released their first album, a great album, in 1968, and it's called Nazz, and almost all of the songs were written by Todd Rundgren. It opens with that great track, Open My Eyes. Play this one loud. It'll rock. I also like the hit Hello, It's Me, which Todd re-recorded later as well. Back of Your Mind, and If That's the Way You Feel. It's a great album, but it didn't really sell. Tensions in the young band were growing, and before they could even record their second album, Van Osten had left. And the other members of the band thought that Todd was being too egotistical and hard to deal with, and so he got fed up and Todd Rundgren left the band. Now, the second album was originally scheduled to be a double album, but after Rundgren left, the label decided to remove a lot of his songs, and so they released the album as a single album. Nazz Nazz was released in April of 1969, but by that point, the band had already broken up. It's a vastly different album from the first. In this album, Todd exerts much more control, and there's much more instrumentation. I like the lead-off, Forget All About It, Not Wrong Long, Under the Ice, Hang On Paul, and A Beautiful Song. All the songs in this album were written by Todd Rundgren, but unfortunately, the album didn't sell. After Nazz broke up, Todd Rundgren starts a solo career, and in 1970 he releases his first album called Runt, which is a very good album. And then the following year he follows that up with Runt, the Ballad of Todd Rundgren. Now both these albums had success, and as a result his old record label went, we got all those songs from the Nazz 2 album when it was going to be a double album that we didn't release. Let's put out a new Nazz album. So they released Nazz 3, which at this time, of course, there was no Nazz, and it's a pretty forgettable record. Todd Rundgren has had a very successful solo career over the years. He's released a number of albums. He's produced a number of songs for other acts, and he has even started another group called Utopia. And he recently tours with Ringo Starr in Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, so you might even be able to catch him doing that. He's a very, very talented musician, and in some future episode, we may just have to explore his career a little more. Now, when you think about the band Nazz, they really only had a career that lasted about 2 years, but they did release some pretty amazing music, and as always, I've got a playlist on Spotify, and here's the link to it, so you can check out those songs by the Nazz. Particularly from that first album, they will really rock you. Thanks for watching, and keep a rockin'.
If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.